support as well. We believe in and we totally trust in. There's very few alternative agencies, news agencies that you can trust in, and we completely 100% support this newspaper, and definitely we recommend it to do something like Dr. Horowitz recommended, to support and to do things to help and make the world a better place. Support news organizations like this, and we recommend that you pick up, there's a copy on that table over there. Support this newspaper, pick it up, and do whatever you can to support this here in the Netherlands. So,
One more.
One moment.
So, okay, let's finish up. Again, it's important. Like, a lot of people go, oh, gee whiz, that's a lot of heavy stuff, Dr. Horowitz. Well, what about solutions? So the solutions are really in 528. I'm going to try to share with you some of those solutions, but I encourage you to simply study. Integrate this information, especially for those of you who it's new for. Please, ideally, get the book of 528. Get the book of 528. It's called Prosperity Key of Love as a subtitle. You have it? Did you read it?
I did.
Did you like it?
There's a lot of, it took me more than 6 months.
More than 6 months to read it.
Yeah, I'm a slow reader.
You're a slow reader? That's good. I am a slow reader
There's
too.
a lot of math in it, and so it was, I needed to think about it. I did love it. That's why
You did
I'm
love
here.
it. That's why you came.
Well,
Okay. It's actually life-changing for people. I know it changed my life. I don't know about you. Did it change your life? Yeah?
I actually upgraded I went on, now and then to some chakra cleansing, which is very powerful, a chakra logo and stuff. And I do go to sleep with a 5 to 8.
Oh, you go to sleep at 528?
I do.
Yeah, nice.
Actually, most of the times, and I managed to actually upgrade frequently, so.
Yeah. We listen to 528 radio. You talk about solutions, We listen to 528radio.com all the time. We were talking this morning about right now, I don't know, how many of you actually can hear a high-pitched hum when you're just living now because of the wireless technologies, right? The vast majority of you are raising your hands. See, we're being bombarded with aberrant frequencies. And so we play 528 radio all the time, even when we're not in the room, because we want to have the room, stay kind of like vibrationally healthy. You've got plants in the room, you've got, your things that, that are important to you.
And
So
does it matter how hard you play that music, or in the low sound, does it also work?
yes,
Yeah.
it does. As a matter of fact, see, when you listen, if you don't buy it's $5, $5 a month to purchase the premium channel with no commercials. Actually, what happens is a lot of people like the commercials because we've tried to make them educational. So the commercials, you'll hear me say that it's like throwing a pebble in a pond. And when you throw a pebble in a pond, when you're putting out a frequency, even if nobody's listening to it, it's going out in the ethers, right? And that basically it's flowing to the farthest shores, touching people's hearts everywhere. So that's the concept, and that's why we actually launched it. And I want to acknowledge Sherry. She did the most outstanding and the hardest work of actually getting that station up. I mean, we really need your support. I mean, desperately. Because as it's growing, it takes more server space. And it's expensive to keep it going. So when you're listening to it and you're enjoying it and you're getting benefits from it, please support it. But also you have to think about, we've been hacked a half a dozen times. And the whole thing goes down, and then it's so difficult to find somebody who can understand that sophisticated transposition technology. What happens is if you have an MP3, say you have a song that you really enjoy that was produced in A440, you want to have it transposed into 528, we do that for free. And you get a remastered MP3. And you can give that to the band, you can give that to the producer, you can just enjoy it yourself. But, so that technology they didn't like. The whole music industry is grossly corrupt. It's totally ripping off the artists, the creative artists. And so we tried to think about how could we advance this that would be beneficial for everyone. And that's why Sherry mentioned it's a 60% royalty. But can you imagine, you know, the deep state with NBC Universal Capitol Records and, you know, Jay-Z's ilk of criminals engaged in seeing what we're doing to undermine the industry? The fact is we're creating medicinal music. So what are they going to do? Bring attention to this? They're going to do everything in their power to suppress it. So this is your station, really. It's meant to be something that we can instantly turn on as beneficial as part of the solution. Okay? So it goes into what is this concept of love. I think I've already talked enough about this, and I already mentioned the color of grass, the greenish chlorophyll, and the heart of the sunshine, so I don't need to belabor this point anymore. I've talked about the oxygen and the CO2, the global warming issues, the acid rain. All of these issues are solved with 528 Love.
Is this in a book that you wrote?
These slides are online at 528revolution.com. They are also in the book of 528, Prosperity Key of Love, because there are some people who can't afford a book. We tried to put up a ton of wonderful information on 528revolution.com. So yeah, these are also, I have a online in Vimeo and on revolutiontelevision.net. Other people may have put it up on Google, YouTube. They censored us. But there is Dr. Leonard Horowitz's Natural Cure for Global Warming. It's a video. These slides of the sunshine here are on that one. Because again, it's this, global warming is you're dealing with acid rain, water chemistry, H2O, electrons of love, vibrant. So all of this intertwines with the solutions for the planet as well as our own well-being. This is a picture of Dr. Emoto actually in front of our estate, our house in Hawaii. And this is the steam that he took back with him to Japan. He captured some of the steam from our steam vents, brought it back to Japan. And for those of you who are involved as healthcare professionals, you might recognize what's in the heart of this snowflake. It's an ultrasound fetus, isn't it? An ultrasound of a fetus in utero. It's actually the message in the water. This is the Dr. Emoto's slide. He sent it to me. He says, Glenn, you gotta take a look at this. But here's the umbilical cord to the navel. Here's the legs. Here's the head. A fetus. And by the way, this is about several million water molecules that form that snowflake. What Dr. Emoto did not know is that this property is at approximately 19.5 longitude at the apex of the Merkaba of the planet Earth. It's a sacred property. And the ancient Hawaiian prophecies have said that it won't be until the ancient Hawaiian temple is reconstructed that an umbilical cord shall open up from the center of the universe and come down through Mount Mauna Kea, where the movie that I just gave you, why we produced the movie, because we understand the sacred nature of this land, that the umbilical cord is to come down to the top of the mountain and rebirth the entire planet in the Aloha spirit. Now, how's that for a double-blind study? I did not tell Dr. Emoto that. So that flies in the face of Dr. Emoto's critics. His critics, and I have been since even Dr. Emoto's tours, his leading science advocate. His critics say, oh, he just finds crystals that give messages. Yeah. No, it's not the case. And obviously, he knew nothing about the ancient Hawaiian prophecy that this sacred land now is giving birth to this message in its water. It's a powerful, powerful spirit-filled property. And the sound of the sun gave us these crystals and structured water. Now let me just explain structured water. You talk about solutions. And this gentleman, what was your name? Herman. Herman is very much into water science and advocacy for understanding the power of water. If we just understood how we can now purify water through frequency resonance and literally honor water as liquid God, then essentially what we've got is the understanding of what can help us restore our own DNA. This is a study here published by Ron Sakeley, who's professor emeritus at Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. Did a study that was consistent with what Lee Lorenzen, the PhD nutritional biochemist, when he told me and Dr. Emoto that 528 repairs damaged DNA. Talk about solutions again, okay? When Lorenzen taught us that, he referred us to Sakeley's research at University of California. And this is a study by Sakeley showing DNA strands where he measured the electrical potential in the strands that was associated with the water in the matrix of the DNA. Because DNA has structured water as its matrix. It doesn't have regular water as its matrix. How do you structure water? Well, Lorenzen taught us that natural wells, there are several internationally. Karamisuo, Japan was one. Lourdes, France is another, where the holy water is harvested. You know those places where people sojourn for weeks, if not months, and they carry their water containers and they take water back for healings. That water is structured. So essentially, how you structure water is the same way the earth structures water. It spins and spirals. You have to develop technologies and machines, and I've done this, and I'd love to come back sometime and teach a course of how to do this. You take a structured, coils, where you put through the coils, copper coil I use, 528 frequency, and you then have magnetic field. I have typically used 180,000 Gauss. Lorenzen used much less. I wanted to make sure I got a good electromagnetic field pulsing at 528. When the water's spiraling through that electromagnetic field, the water picks up the memory of the frequency and it holds it. It's astonishing. You can actually see the water come out, still it's spiraling. Even though it's shooting straight, it's still spiraling as it's shooting straight. It's obviously holding memory. And now you understand solutions in terms of what the essence of homeopathy is. Unfortunately, in the Netherlands, unlike Germany and elsewhere, homeopathy is not well appreciated. But again, if you understand that your body is mostly water, a liquid crystal superconductor, and like the fish, all the fish instantly turning, DNA, sound and light signaling affects all the cells instantaneously. When you now put into the DNA a structured water that has the frequency of love, 528, now you're going to get that signal going out to all of your cells and tissues virtually simultaneously. This is a picture that Sakeley took after as little as 8% of the structured water was eliminated from the DNA. You can see that the strands of DNA unfolded, they stretched out, and the electrical potential dramatically was reduced from the original structures. So you can see dramatically the difference. So we've used this understanding to produce a variety of solutions. We have a product called Liquid Dentist that starts with Oxysilver. We have a product called Oxysilver. I'll tell you a little bit about Liquid Dentist in a minute. Oxysilver, every nation should have an Oxysilver manufacturing facility. Every single nation. Because if you had that, you could eliminate infectious diseases. You could eliminate poisonous antibiotics that are not only poisoning people, but also the environment and the water. You could eliminate the vast majority, in fact, I believe all vaccinations. They would all become obsolete with this understanding. So this particular product called Oxysilver is pretty much one of our mainstays. And what it is it's a structured water double superconductor of love. Because water is a liquid crystal superconductor. Silver is a superconductor. On the periodic table, copper, silver, and gold move those electrons better than any other element. That's why you use copper wires for the electrical system. So if you know that, and you know that copper, silver, what happened was about 2006, I was approached by agents for a very wealthy industrialist who had purchased the rights for NASA science to keep the astronauts healthy in space. Scientists developed a covalently bonded silver water molecule called a silver hydrosol. It's unique. It's not a colloidal silver. It's far more advanced than colloidal silvers. It's far better, in my opinion, than even the microfine, best quality silver hydrosols, because there's, in the process, the silver is actually bonded to the oxygen in the water molecule. So it goes into the cells, does its job, and it leaves. The silver has been, for centuries, known as a wonderful antibiotic. It destabilizes the membranes of the bacteria and the viruses. It kills them and then leaves the body. In this particular case, fine. The old colloidal silvers used to do skin tattooing, called argyro. And that was why they were, poo-pooed and discredited by the mainstream pharmaceutical industrialists. In our case, we don't have to worry about that, because the silver itself is bonded to the oxygen in the water molecule. And so, when you now take a structured water that holds memory, and you now create that oxysilver with that particular frequency, now the DNA sings. How do I use this? Solution. You know that first feeling, that inkling you get when a cold or flu is starting to come on? You know that, just that knack you might be coming down with a cold or flu, right? If you then take 3 capfuls, do not use silverware. Do not use the spoons, the utensils, because the metal will blow out the structure. It'll destroy the structured water aspect of oxysilver. But if you use the cap, it's a plastic cap, and you take 3 capfuls under your tongue, close your eyes. If you're a visual person, about 60% of you are visual type of people. Like I am, you will probably see what I see. I see a white light just beaming through my whole body. And that frequency of Love 528 white light moves through my body instantaneously. I actually see it. And you will not get sick. It's guaranteed full money back refund if you actually do this like I'm telling you and you get sick. We have very, very, very few people out of tens of thousands of people who have used it successfully this way, ask for the money back. So it works because of the understanding of what it is that I've been telling you. Love is the universal healer. The saying in Scripture is nothing missing, nothing broken in the kingdom of heaven. The opportunity is to bring that perfection into your own body. That's what moves the dissonance out. It's all energy. You're an energy being. The diseases are degenerative frequencies, either too little or too much energy in Chinese medicine. Now you're restoring that power, that love power, 528. So this is just one example. Now you can take oxysilver and you can do all sorts of things with it, like we do. We have a product called Liquid Dentist. Fantastic product. One warning. It's so good, it's addictive. You start using Liquid Dentist if you don't have it, like now I don't have it while I'm on tour, I miss it. What it is you start with 3 parts per million oxysilver, you add organic minerals to it, you add a little glycerin and lecithin and some enzymes, all natural, and now what you've got is something to swish your mouth with after good hygiene. Brush, floss like normal. You swish 3 to 9 minutes, and it coats your teeth to prevent, even before plaque, it's called pellicle buildup, so the plaque can't build up for up to 3 days. A 3 to 9 minute swish. So it reverses, and it's designed to reverse tooth decay, reverse gum disease, and it's all organic, it's all natural, and you should swallow it. Unlike any other mouthwash, you swallow this. Why? Because now you've just given yourself, with the oxysilver 528 component, you've just given yourself a natural, nutritional immunization against more than 1,000 strains of germs that are in your mouth. The mouth is supposedly one of the dirtiest places on earth. Human mouths are supposedly dirtier than dogs' mouths. So you got all those germs in your mouth. You swish for 3 to 9 minutes, and now you break up all those germs, and you hit it with the oxygen, you hit it with the silver, swallow it. You've now fed all those broken up pieces of genetic, germs into your Peyer's patches, the immune system around your gut. You've now just given yourself a natural, nutritional immunization against more than 1,000 strains of germs. So we have parent after parent reporting to us that their children who are on Liquid Dentist don't get sick when all the other children in the school are getting sick. It's just common sense. It works. So all sorts of things. This past week we were in Las Vegas. We've got to end in 5 minutes. Good? We were in Las Vegas, and we just have been experimenting with this unit here called the Water Smacker. And I decided to take this machine on. This produces microclustered structured water. The designer, the developer, Bob Boyce, had developed it to resonate in the frequency of the Schumann resonance frequency of the planet. His theory, and I agree with, that if we ground ourselves with the frequency resonance of Earth, we'll be in harmony with nature and healed. I said, listen, I love the technology, let me try the machine. And the machine actually produces water that violates, completely discredits the dogma in physics that says that water can't hold a charge. Hogwash. The machine produces water, a liter of water per day, and what we did in Vegas, we had people, and you can actually see, because I did this also at the American Academy for Anti-Aging Medicine several years ago. I had a similar device that was produced, the water. I had 12 people on stage holding hands in a circle. At the end was one guy who held the bottle. On the other end was a gal who put her finger in the bottle. And all 12 people jumped about 6 inches off the ground. They were shocked by the energy in the water. We just did that in Vegas with the Water Smacker. Totally blows out the concept that water can't hold energy frequency. Now you've just proven the fundamental understanding of homeopathy. I was asked to write a book. I haven't gotten an opportunity yet. It's important work. The title of the book, the working title, is that the foundation, the basis of homeopathic medicine is love, 528. Why? Because H2O, the structure itself of water, I showed you where the frequency of 528 comes into the structure of water itself. Okay? You know what water structure? Water is like the single H2O is lonely. It's lonely. It's polarized. H2O is charged differently. Positive and negative charges cause the pyramid structure, the tetrahedron structure of the water molecule to shift and seek a mate. It has to find a mate to balance its charges out. So when it finds its mate, they intertwine so that one pyramid points up, the other points down, and they form the Merkaba. Just like the Merkaba of planet Earth. Hello, scaling, Hartmut-Muller's energy, frequency, physics. This is how it works. You're the same, we're the same. We fit into that same system. So that's essentially what the water molecule is capable of holding as a double tetrahedron, as a Merkaba, structured water, holding energy and frequency messaging. So from that understanding, we develop a whole variety of other products. CBD 528. I've got one bottle in my pocket. I carry it with me now. Why? It's designed, you know, when you're in the zone, you know, when you're, for the creative artists among you, okay, and the consciousness people, you know when you're in the zone of creative inspiration, in spirit, in spiritualization, like respiration. Bring in that aloha spirit. You're in a zone of peace, shalom, aloha, right? So essentially, given that understanding, if you combine, as we have, the Bach flower remedies that resonate to give you the qualities of success, of joy, of harmony, and self-mastery and capability, self-worth. Those are the flower essences that we've selected for CBD 528. And of course, CBD has now been shown to be effective in reducing pain and reducing stress and distress. And so you combine that in a homeopathic. You don't have the drug. What you've got is the frequency resonance in a double superconductor of love, administering the healing. And so I take it whenever I lose my center, whenever I feel like I really kind of like need to have just like, you know, go back into the zone of creativity and peace, I'll take 3 drops under the tongue. And the same thing happens. The only warning that I'm going to give you is when you take it, it's so powerful that any issue, any neuroticism, or any issue that you have in your social relationships, interactions, likewise will have this purging effect. You know, you'll move through it. You may go through a healing crisis or 2 because it's so powerful. But you're putting your body back in sync. We talked earlier about Hawaii having that resonant energy frequency of paradise. And any human that goes into that sacred space, who's kind of frazzled and neurotic, you know, it comes up for healing very quickly on the big island of Hawaii. It's famous for that.
So where to buy it?
So, okay, the question here, we are in the Netherlands. Where do you buy this? The only place, I wish that we were able to produce it here. I would like to work with whoever we can work with to start to produce these products here. We need a distributor. It's expensive to ship it from the United States. So we need to produce it here. Right now, we didn't bring any to sell. You can get it on Cure Shop, but again, there's the cost of shipping. Yes, Sherry mentioned CURESHOPPE, cureshop.com. And then here's Sherry, by the way. You see this picture of somebody who's being kissed and loved by giraffes? That's Sherry several years ago. And she was working in the San Diego Wildlife Refuge, taking care of the animals. She's got also other pictures of the giraffes actually kissing her. So anyway, because she prompted me, we produced OxySilver for pets. And we know we've saved 3 dogs' lives so far. You know, so again, the pets, the animals, are more in tune than we are. They haven't been dumbed down by the media. And I mentioned 528radio.com, again, for your enjoyment. Think about all the uses. The 528 tuning forks, for example. Think about the ways that doing chakra balancing. People need to open their hearts. A lot of people have issues with love and belonging. You know, the group in Israel I told you about, Ahava, they take 528 tuning forks down into the Palestinian zone. And they're in Jerusalem and elsewhere. They are arguing. People are really upset. And, they're arguing on the streets and in the cafes. They take the tuning forks, 528 tuning forks, they strike it and they walk around the crowd. And complete relaxation. Suddenly they stop fighting. And it's not just because of the novelty of some Looney Tune walking around with a tuning fork. It's because you're actually presenting them with the frequency that's overwhelming in nature. So at any rate, I've got to stop because we're out of time, and our video crew has to leave. Let me just end by also saying that you can take 528 tuning forks, you talk about solutions. You can strike a tuning fork in a bathtub, hold the stem down into the bath water, say a prayer or two, and you can literally create a 528 baptism pool in your own bathroom. So thank you so much for your time today. God bless you.